Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. It's your favorite underpaid YouTuber here, back at it again to drop What If Naruto Was Scorpion's Reincarnation. Today, we're going to be watching Naruto develop all of Scorpion's techniques, including his iconic "Get over here!", his teleportation, Shirai Ryu fighting style, and his iconic fatalities. So if you're excited for that, ladies and gentlemen, then definitely be sure to leave a like on this video, because if this one gets enough support, meaning a lot of likes, I will more than likely end up dropping a What If Naruto Was Sub-Zero's Reincarnation next. So that's really up to you guys. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, today's video was commissioned by the myth, the legend himself, Granola. But with that being said, watch my incredible Mortal Kombat gameplay and enjoy. Alright, I usually wouldn't tell you guys something like this, but I have been sitting here for the past, 6 hours trying to think of a really cool story and plot points for the video. But as I was doing the script, like an hour into it, I just read it and I was like, bro, this is hot garbage. So I decided that instead of giving you guys a story where I was gonna do what I was gonna do, I'm not even gonna tell you guys that, I am just gonna completely eyeball this thing and see if the creative juices can finally get going. So for this specific story, let's actually just start everything off with the scene of Naruto training in the forest. How old is he? Honestly, I don't know. Couldn't be bothered to think about that right now. Naruto would be punching at a tree as hard as he possibly can as thoughts would begin racing through his mind. He's absolutely pissed because another day had gone by where Naruto had simply been trying to make friends, trying to talk to somebody. But when he did that, of course, the parents came in and told him, "Don't hang out with that kid. Didn't I tell you he's a demon?" They would stare at Naruto with these looks of hate and disgust, and as Naruto would punch harder and harder, Naruto's teeth would begin gritting as he would think, "I'm not a monster, but this damn village is gonna push me to become one. All I wanted was a friend, somebody to talk to, and the second that I had that, here comes the girl's parents telling her not to hang out with me. Now ever since then, every time that she looks at me, she just stares at me with disgust in her eyes. I hate it, and I hate this stupid village. Why do they call me a demon? Why am I supposedly some monster? Was it because of the way that I was born? Is it my whiskers? Maybe it's my hair. What do I need to change for this stupid village to accept me?" As Naruto would continue punching, blood would begin coming out of his fist because he'd begin punching harder and harder, not stopping for a moment to limit the strength of his punches, making it so that obviously he doesn't hurt himself. But as this would happen and Naruto would feel tears coming out of his eyes, it's almost as though Naruto would have resolved himself not to cry, and Naruto would begin trying to suck the tears back into his eyes as he would stare at the tree and his eye expression would change. Naruto would be sick of crying, sick of feeling sorry for himself, sick of feeling anything. His eyes would grow cold and dark, and as Naruto would punch once more, his fists would engulf in flames. It'd be at this moment that Naruto, looking at his hand, would stare at it as, in anger, Naruto could only stare at it, just thinking to himself, "Why doesn't it burn?" And as Naruto would punch the tree once more, the entirety of the tree would literally go up in flames. Naruto would watch this happen as, taking a few steps back, Naruto would look at his hand, ultimately seeing that the flames not only would cover his hand, but his entire body. And as Naruto would stare at both of his hands standing there on the training grounds, Naruto would look at himself wondering, what is this? It'd be at this moment that Naruto would walk closer towards the direction of a waterfall, or river, and as Naruto would get closer, his feet would scorch the ground, burning pieces of grass as he goes, and he would see his own reflection. His eyes were lit ablaze, and his body was too. In this moment, Naruto couldn't help but think that he kind of did look like a demon. But as Naruto saw his own reflection in the mirror, he could only smile, thinking to himself that if the village wants to make him out to be a demon, then fine, he'll be one. Naruto from that day forth would decide that he was going to change. No longer would he try to let other people know that he cared about their attention or that he craved a friend. Naruto would start to remain silent and decide that if the village wasn't going to be giving him the respect he deserves as a human being, then he was just going to be having to force them to respect him. Because Naruto knew that ultimately, in a shinobi society, might makes right. And so, as Naruto would spend his years growing up in the academy, Naruto over the course of this time would end up developing his flame abilities. As Naruto would begin to work on them, thinking of them as a Kekkei Genkai, Naruto would title it Blaze Release. And over the course of this time, Naruto would end up learning how to control it in such different ways that Naruto wasn't even sure if he could consider this a jutsu. Naruto would develop the ways of creating little fire minions that he could control at his disposal, using minions that he could summon out of nowhere from the earth, or even from out of nowhere. They could land attacks that nobody could see coming, and Naruto could also use these abilities to grab onto his opponents and not let them go. Naruto would use these newfound powers of his to develop abilities that allow him to throw fireballs at people, shoot flames from his mouth, and coat his entire body in Hellblaze, which would be an ability very similar to the Raikage's Lightning Cloak, one that enhances his strength and speed to a much lesser degree. With the main thing that Naruto has going for him whenever he activates this state would be the offensive firepower that Naruto now gained access to. Because if Naruto managed to actually hit a blow on you, you would be covered in scorching flames. That, unlike fire release in the Naruto story, which practically was never ever shown to do a single thing, these flames are going to be burning you, because they're about half as hot as a Amaterasu without the effect of never disappearing. Naruto over this time would have even learned the base ability to teleport, with Naruto learning of having an ability that allows him to teleport anywhere from 10 meters away. So this would allow him the ability to teleport behind his opponents to end up landing surprise attacks. And funny enough, this would actually be something that Naruto doesn't even show anybody. During his time in the academy, Naruto wouldn't be showing his hands or trying to display that he's so much better than anybody. In fact, Naruto would kind of remain a silent shinobi, working on his own to develop these own skills by himself, and also beginning to work on training by using kunais and swords and daggers. Naruto would train himself till his bones would break and his body physically just couldn't move anymore. Naruto would break his will over and over and over again, and on days where Naruto felt as though he was gonna throw up or pass out from exhaustion, Naruto would just push even harder, remembering all the words of the villagers, everyone who called him a monster, everyone who called him a demon. Naruto would think to himself that he's gonna prove them all right, and he's gonna be exactly what they've all made him to be. So at this point in the story, Naruto would display low Jonin levels of strength, capable of using a katana, dagger, and kunai to nearly perfection. Naruto would have learned that using blades at close quarters combat would suit him perfectly, and over the course of this time, Naruto even would have developed Scorpion's iconic chain kunai method of fighting. However, to this point, Naruto still doesn't implement it with a chain. Instead, he uses a rope, or a string is actually what Naruto would be using at this point, attaching a kunai to the very end of it, making it a lot easier for him to manipulate in the air and actually attack his opponents, making it a much quicker form of attack in case all of Naruto's other forms of attack don't work. And this would be perfect, because if Naruto ever was to use this in tandem with the abilities that he's already been using to this point, Naruto practically is guaranteed to land these blows on his targets. So Naruto at this point would be an incredibly talented and gifted shinobi who kind of just stays quiet and would grow in power as every day would pass. Although while Sasuke thought of himself of being the strongest and people would sort of just watch Naruto fade into the distance, Naruto would be going ahead of all of them, growing in strength, combat prowess, and even experience, which Naruto would gain via creating flame minions to actually face off against, commanding them to actually come attack him all at once. And Naruto would have learned of this incredible capability on one particular day close to the graduation day of the academy, when Naruto would have essentially teleported. This time, instead of appearing in a different spot in the normal world, Naruto would find himself in a different dimension. Similar to what Kamui does, bringing Obito to his own pocket dimension, Naruto would have exactly that whenever he would teleport to a different location, and Naruto would find himself face first with hell itself, or what he thinks it would be. Flames, lava, demons. Naruto, seeing these things, would end up using these same exact monsters to grow in power, going in there every day and facing off against stronger and stronger enemies. Naruto would have ultimately ended up learning greater control over all of the abilities that he would begin mastering here, and this would be the thing that would leave Naruto to becoming a young version of Scorpion, learning how to use daggers and blades and the chain and the kunai, and using his flame release abilities. Naruto would grow and advance, growing leaps and bounds above his classmates. This is when we would ultimately get the day of Naruto's graduation, and as Naruto would make his way into the classroom, he would wait for Iruka's news, or At least what he expected to be new news, considering the fact that he had walked in with a happy expression on his face, something that Iruka doesn't usually do. And as Iruka would finally walk into the classroom with a smile on his face, he would congratulate every single person there, going on to tell them that he's extremely proud of their progress they've had during the academy, saying that he's proud to have been known as their sensei and that he hopes that they can go on to become splendid shinobis one day. Everybody hearing this would end up pretty much looking to Iruka with a smile as they would await what's going to be happening next. This is when all of them would find out about their team placements, and Naruto, much like in the original, would be placed on Team 7, with Kakashi Hatake, Sasuke Uchiha, and Sakura Haruno, aka the living, breathing incarnation of garbage itself. So while Naruto has Blaze release, Sakura has Trash release, which is actually very potent in this timeline. But anyways, eventually the team would end up having their introductions, and with that being the case, what would end up playing out is we would get a scene of everybody telling them their goals. Sakura says that she would like Sasuke, Sasuke would say that his goal is to kill a certain someone, and Naruto, overhearing Sasuke say that, would look at him as he would raise an eyebrow, wondering if Sasuke even has what it takes, the self-control, to actually kill a man. This is when Naruto would finally go up next, and he would simply say that his goal was to become a shinobi feared among the nations, someone who people would look at and have to respect. Kakashi, hearing this, looking into Naruto's eyes, could see that those weren't the eyes of a wide-eyed child who had dumb ideas or ambitions. That was somebody who was serious about his goals, somebody who in the very near future could possibly complete that. So, with Kakashi hearing the goals from his team, he would end up dismissing them, telling them that tomorrow's the day that they're going to be showing whether they are allowed to truly remain on the team. He would go on to explain the bell test and pretty much tell them not to eat for tomorrow. This is when a couple of them would end up making their way home, and we would get a scene in which Naruto, not caring about what Kakashi would say, following a strict training regimen, would wake up at 3 in the morning and begin training using his Blaze release. In the forest, you would simply see a spark of light and flames going off as Naruto would begin using all of his attacks that he would have at this point, and Naruto finally, after breaking a sweat, warming up, would finally crack his neck twice, opening a portal as Naruto would fall right through it, and awaiting him on the other side would be demon spawns, who would all rush towards his direction trying to kill him. However, Naruto, not caring about this at all, would rush in towards their direction, blade in hand, as he would cut them down, not even using his flames, because Naruto uses his flames on the outside world. These things are literally made of flames themselves, so this is where Naruto would begin training on the super iconic "Get over here" move that Scorpion's so known for. So, using his chain or whip or whatever it is that I had said it was, a cord, Naruto, using this kunai, would wrap it around multiple of them, dragging them towards his direction, as Naruto, in one fell swoop, leaping up into the air, would spin in the air with his blade as he would cut a demon from its head down to its torso, leaving it to split in half. And seeing this, more demons would rush at Naruto, as in this wake, Naruto would teleport from a different location behind it, stabbing it in the back of the neck, destroying it. As rushing towards the next onslaught of demons, Naruto would simply smile, as hundreds of demons would begin rushing towards his direction, but Naruto, activating Aura Blaze, would pretty much end up having so much flames engulf off of him that this would blow back the weak level demons, causing Naruto to start teleporting around, similar to what Minato would do, as he would start slicing and dicing each and every single one of them. Naruto, at the end of this, would be covered in blood, but the blood would be a strange color. It was black in nature. Naruto at this point would make his way home showering, as we would get a clip of Naruto with water hitting his head as he would look down, closing his eyes, thinking to himself if he's really doing the right thing. But the more Naruto thinks about this, the more he would simply steal his resolve. And as Naruto would grab his things, preparing to meet Kakashi in the forest, Naruto would grab his things, grabbing his blade, sword, katana, as well as weapons, and his newfound jacket that Naruto would have started wearing years ago, to put it on and make his way towards Kakashi and the rest of the team. In this timeline, Naruto wasn't going to be wearing the classic orange jumpsuit that Naruto's known for. Instead, he would be wearing black shinobi pants with the iconic little shinobi shoes that they wear, and this really cool looking like tactical yellow and black jacket that Naruto would wear that has like a really cool hood on top, but obviously Naruto doesn't have the mask or anything. He also wears this katana sheath, which is dual in nature, because Naruto actually fights with dual katanas or dual blades if he truly wants to. Also on this jacket, Naruto would have multiple kunais that easy to grab access to him, so he would end up being able to access them at any given moment. And with that being the case, Naruto making his way towards the training grounds would find Kakashi and the rest of the team waiting for him. Naruto would have actually been the one to arrive the latest, having completed his training a bit later than he had bargained for, as Kakashi staring at Naruto lifting an eyebrow would wonder why he's so late. Naruto would simply turn to Kakashi telling him that he's sorry but he was doing some last minute training. Kakashi would wonder if he's serious about that or if he's simply lying, but looking at Naruto seeing that he was a bit scuffed up from yesterday, he would think that he's probably not lying. So he would pretty much tell Naruto to get in place and he would begin explaining the rules of the test. He would go on to tell them that today their only goal is going to be taking these bells from him, and they're allowed to use deadly force if they want, considering the fact that they weren't going to be getting these bells, as well as informing them that, oh yeah, only 2 of you are going to be passing. After Kakashi would go on to tell the team about that, this is when things would get serious, and the second Kakashi would say 3, 2, 1, Naruto would smirk, knowing that for the first time, he was about to show Sasuke and that brat Sakura how strong he truly was. Naruto in an instant would teleport right next to Kakashi, who luckily, because his master was literally Minato himself, having reacted to teleportation before, would barely be able to dodge out of the way, narrowly avoiding Naruto's strike, which wouldn't have even been going after the bells, but to literally cause his guts to come flying out of his body, because Naruto wasn't playing. Kakashi said he could use deadly force, so Naruto was gonna be using deadly force. In that moment, Naruto turning towards the direction of Kakashi would both lock eyes as Naruto would disappear once more, appearing behind Kakashi in a blaze of flames, with Kakashi noting that he's fast, but not as fast as his master was, or his father. In this moment, Kakashi holding a kunai out would clash with Naruto, as Naruto, feeling the strength of this Jonin sensei, would actually end up being pushed back. Naruto would smirk, thinking that he's on a different level than those demons that he regularly destroys. Naruto in this moment would end up teleporting away, getting behind Kakashi, as instead of trying to sneak attack him, Naruto would proudly go on to yell, "Get over here!" as a little attack would rush towards the direction of Kakashi, and it would actually be caught by Kakashi with his glove, as he would then pull Naruto towards him, telling Naruto that that was impressive. And as Naruto would be dragged towards him, Naruto would engulf his fist in flames, throwing an attack at Kakashi's direction, which he would dodge before spinning and throwing a backhand elbow at his direction. This would actually end up connecting with Kakashi, rattling him for a second as Kakashi would go backwards, and as Naruto would come in with a final slash to kill his sensei, Kakashi would teleport out of there at the last second, using the substitution jutsu. It'd be at this moment that Kakashi would have felt his life literally flash before his eyes, that he would stare towards the direction of Naruto, who, awaiting him in the plains, would end up asking Kakashi when he was going to come out of there, staring right at the direction of where Kakashi was hiding. It'd be at this moment that a demon minion would rush at the direction of Kakashi, as it would be a being of pure fire that would lunge at him, trying to grab at Kakashi. However, Kakashi, having the skills to take out beings like this, would slash at the creature, destroying it completely. As we would then see Naruto having a smirk on his face, thinking that he knew this was going to be hard, but to be this hard, he wasn't expecting that. In this moment, Kakashi, noting that Naruto's abilities have nothing to do with chakra or don't even have any rhyme or reason, they're just there, would proceed to lift his headband as he would unveil the Sharingan, rushing back in towards the direction of Naruto, deciding that a frontal assault would probably be best for this young cocky student, would do just that, lunging towards the direction of Naruto, who in this moment, trying to counter Kakashi, would actually be caught off guard by the newfound speed of him. He would begin to read Naruto like a book, shocking Naruto with the fact that he could keep up with his speed. Naruto in this moment would begin to get worried and pissed, as he would think to himself, all that training just to be outdone by this guy? But obviously Naruto doesn't know that Kakashi is literally him and is an extremely powerful, very versatile, extremely goated character that he's going up against. So in this moment, as Naruto was thinking that he's not as strong as he had thought, Kakashi would end up clashing with Naruto as Naruto would begin losing a contest of strength. But as Naruto saw this, his eyes would light ablaze as a newfound spirit would rage inside of Naruto. Naruto's body would be lit with flames as he would begin to push Kakashi back, stalemating him. As the both of them are going at each other with a kunai in hand, Naruto, using his other free hand, ends up grabbing a dagger and trying to stab it into Kakashi. However, Kakashi catches Naruto's other hand and the both of them would be locked in a stalemate. As this would be happening, Sasuke, seeing his opportunity, would lunge up into the air as he would weave hand signs saying, "Fire style! Fireball jutsu!" A gigantic fireball would come flying at the direction of Kakashi and Naruto would simply smirk, gripping onto Kakashi harder and not letting him go, as the fireball would end up crashing into Naruto and Kakashi. However, Kakashi would be the only one to have actually received damage. A lot of damage. Naruto standing there would be completely unfazed as he would stare at Kakashi with a smirk in his face, and then suddenly Sasuke would come running in as Naruto, not letting his grip go, holding it as tightly as humanly possible, not allowing him even a moment to wield hand signs or even try to kick at the direction of Naruto, with Naruto using a Hellspawn demon to grab onto Kakashi's legs. This would lead Sasuke a perfect opportunity to lunge in and steal both bells. After he would do this, Sasuke would smirk, holding both bells, as Naruto would finally let Kakashi go and Sasuke tosses a bell at Naruto. Naruto would catch it, looking at Kakashi as he would have a smirk on his face, thinking that he won. Although he didn't do it in the manner that he wanted to completely eviscerate his teacher. But Naruto does understand that he hasn't beat in experience and even a little in strength. So Naruto, for the first time, would be willing to swallow his pride and accept that in this moment, he really did need Sasuke. He would give him a slight smile or like a smirk as he would nod, and it would be in this moment that Kakashi would go on to explain to them that they failed. This would stun Naruto, who would say, "What? We got the bells. What do you mean we failed? How could we have possibly failed? Your stupid little test consisted of this, and if you're serious about me failing, then I might as well just kill you and start my own team." But Kakashi, saying this, would look at Naruto with a very serious expression, telling him what he believes the purpose of this test was. Naruto at this point would say to show that he has the strength worthy of being a ninja. Kakashi would say he does, but what he doesn't have is the ability to work with others. In order to be part of a ninja squad, you have to show the capability of working with other people, and right now, Naruto wasn't showing that. In fact, he wasn't even showing that he would be capable of working with his own sensei. Naruto, hearing that, would be stunned at the realization that all this time, Naruto had been wrong about the real purpose of this test, would look away as he would feel slight embarrassment in this moment. As Sasuke, also hearing this, would be stunned as he would say, "But we worked together. Maybe we didn't do it in the way that you were expecting, but at the end of the day, and myself and Naruto were able to get the bells. Because he held you still, he gave me an opening to take you down. And if you believe that we wouldn't have been able to actually kill you in that moment, then you're dead wrong, Kakashi. We deserve the opportunity to be part of this team. And Sakura, while she might not have done anything, she could have actually been part of this whole thing and could have actually been helpful via maybe rushing at Kakashi with Sasuke." Kakashi, hearing these points from Sasuke, would look at the direction of Naruto, then back to Sasuke, as he would nod and pretty much end up caving to the requests of these ninjas standing before him. Kakashi would go on to say that they pass, but only because they were able to take the bells. Naruto in this moment would go on to pretty much just smile, as he would then turn towards the direction of Kakashi and ask him truthfully what he thought about his strength. Kakashi, looking to Naruto, would tell him that he's incredible, that in a true one-on-one fight where both of them could have been going full throttle and Kakashi would have also had murderous intent, he thinks that Naruto could have given him a solid run for his money, which would lead Naruto to understand that even though he was giving him a compliment, he was also trying to let Naruto know that he still believes he would have beaten him, at least with high difficulty. Naruto, hearing this from Kakashi, would end up realizing that though he's incredibly powerful for his age, he still has a little ways to go. So, Naruto would pretty much end up accepting working under Kakashi, as he would note that all that he needs was experience, real experience, and working underneath Kakashi was going to be helping him get just that. So, as time would pass, the team would end up undergoing E rank and D rank missions, until finally, the Bridge Builder Tazuna mission would happen, and Naruto and Team 7 would meet with a drunken Bridge Builder at the gate the next day. This would be at the moment that the team would embark on their mission, as about 30 to 40 minutes into it, they would end up spotting a nearby genjutsu, at least Naruto would. And the second that both demon brothers would lunge at the direction of Kakashi, seemingly killing him, Naruto would throw his spear at their direction, wrapping it around one of the demon brothers' necks as he would drag him towards him, and in one fell sword swoosh, he would cut the man's chest, caving it in, as Naruto would watch the demon brother fall to the ground bleeding out. Sasuke in this moment, seeing that Naruto was able to kill that man with zero hesitation, would look at Naruto in a different light, realizing that the boy who had remained silent and was simply in the back of the class was more than he had let on this whole time. Sasuke would stare at Naruto, and Naruto, looking back at him, would finally break the silence, saying, "What? I got something on my face? Why are you staring so hard?" But Sasuke in this moment, unable to say anything, would simply tell him that it's nothing, as Kakashi would end up making his presence known, and Naruto would ask why he did that, why he felt the need to fake his death, with Kakashi going on to explain that he was simply trying to test them, see how far they were willing to go. As in this moment, he would then go on to press Tazuna, saying that those two ninjas who had just rushed them weren't just mere bandits or thieves, those were full-on Chunin ninjas, mercenaries who were for hire, and that they were 100% going after him. He would look to Tazuna before saying, "Care to explain what's going on here?" As Tazuna, turning towards the direction of Kakashi, would have some sweat drop off of his face, as he would say, see, the thing is, alright, you've caught me. The mission isn't a C rank, but I only told you that for a real reason. My village is undergoing poverty, and if I didn't do that, then I feared I wouldn't make it home alive. My grandson's waiting for me. After saying that, Tazuna would end up pretty much being like, yeah, my grandson, as he would then pretty much try to guilt trip the team, but ultimately it wouldn't work. It'd be at this point that Naruto would go on to tell Kakashi that he better not dare cancel the mission, saying that he wants to learn as much as he possibly can under him, and the only way that's going to happen is if they see this thing to the end. Sasuke in this moment would end up agreeing, and so the mission would actually continue. An hour into it, as the team would be walking by, making their way towards the direction of one of the boats to make their way to the actual land of the waves, in this moment, a thick mist would engulf the area, and Naruto, noticing that this mist was growing thicker by the second and it was completely unnatural, Naruto would note that this had to be the doing of some sort of jutsu. Kakashi would note this as well, as ultimately, a couple of minutes into the both of them beginning to have their guards up, Naruto would hear the whooshing of a giant blade flying at his direction. With Naruto knowing the sound all too well, he would then suddenly hear Kakashi say, "Dodge!" Everybody would end up ducking, as they would end up being greeted to the blade of Zabuza being embedded into a tree, with him standing above it and making his presence known. After this would happen, we would get the encounter between Kakashi and Zabuza, with, much like in the original, Kakashi dropping his guard, trying to aura farm but actually failing at it, as he would be captured by Zabuza, having let his guard down for just a split second, and having overestimated his abilities. That said, Naruto having the ability to teleport instantly would do just that, appearing right behind Zabuza, as Naruto not giving Zabuza any moments to react because he had one arm trying to capture Kakashi and the water prison jutsu. Naruto would bring his blade down on Zabuza's back, slashing him, leaving him a gash mark on his back as blood would begin pouring out of Zabuza, and Haku, seeing this from the forest, would end up immediately deciding that it's time to jump in. However, before Naruto could even make contact with the water and Zabuza could try to retaliate, Naruto would be right next to Sasuke, as flames would appear in the ground and Naruto would appear as well. Naruto would have a smirk in this moment, as suddenly Naruto and Sasuke both would be trapped inside of a ice mirror jutsu, with Haku having arrived at the scene. In this moment, Naruto would watch from all angles, as ice would have ended up engulfing Naruto, and Naruto, seeing this, would watch as Haku would instantly begin shooting from mirror to mirror with full murderous intent, seeing as her master Zabuza was practically at death's door. That attack that Naruto would have landed on Zabuza, who wasn't expecting it, would practically have taken 70% of his health, and with Kakashi being there to actually finish the job off, there was no question that Zabuza was practically dead because of that. All that Haku could see in this moment, as cringe as it sounds, was literally red, as he would try to kill Naruto in a one fell swoop and throw multiple senbons at his direction, but Naruto, seeing all of these flying objects coming at his direction, would end up pretty much smiling as a blazing aura would surround him, and Naruto would start to melt these ice senbon before they could even make contact with him. Naruto would look towards the direction of Haku, not being able to see what mirror Haku was actually in because of how fast he was moving, would open a portal underneath the legs of Sasuke, telling him to get lost. He would end up sending him straight to the Hell dimension, as Sasuke literally for a split 10 seconds would have to be sitting there in Hell's dimension, seeing all of these monsters rushing at him, with him having been covered in senbon and trying to hold his own for a solid 10 seconds. All the while Naruto in this moment would end up smirking and opening his mouth, as from there the biggest blast of heat would come shooting from there, similarly to when Scorpion would take off his mask and his skeleton head would show, and he just shoots fire that just destroys his enemies. He would do just that to each and every single one of the mirrors, melting them instantly, as Haku would be caught by the flames and his entire body would be charred, Amaterasu style. Falling to the ground, you could just hear Haku writhing in pain as he would attempt to roll on the ground to put the flames out, but nothing. These flames were not stopping, and as the seconds would pass, the heat would get more intense. This would cause Haku to combust in flames as he would burn up, looking like that one customer that SpongeBob had when he was selling chocolate. That's what Haku starts looking like after this attack, and Naruto, seeing this, would end up teleporting to Hell's dimension. As standing next to Sasuke, Naruto would end up grabbing him, teleporting back to the real world, with Sasuke falling to one knee and his eyes being completely wide would say, "What the hell was that, Naruto?" Naruto, looking to Sasuke, would tell him that that's what he believes hell is like. And as Sasuke sees that, his entire persona would just start being just shook. The dude is literally just shook. Naruto, seeing Sasuke in this state, would realize that it is definitely a bit much when it's the first time you're seeing this, but he would think that Sasuke will be alright. As shortly after this, Naruto would hear the sound of 1,000 birds chirping, the Chidori having been impaled in Zabuza's body, as Naruto would watch Zabuza fall to the ground, dead. After this would happen, Naruto, turning towards Kakashi, would tell him what he thinks about the match of what he thinks about the outcome of a match between them would be now, as he would go on to pretty much start gloating to Kakashi, telling him that the only reason he's not dead right now is because of him, and if he was able to kill him, then that should in theory mean that he should be able to kill him. But Kakashi in this moment would end up thinking that that's not actually how it works, though he makes a good point. If Kakashi was to let his guard down for even a split second, the chances of Naruto actually killing him was actually not something out of the question. So, with that being the case, Kakashi would begin to think about this, thinking that if it wasn't for Minato and his experience with the flying Raijin, Naruto would definitely catch him off guard and probably kill him, but his advantage of having the Sharingan would definitely help out. So, after this would happen, Kakashi would actually faint from exhaustion, as we would get a scene of the team making their way towards Tazuna's house, meeting Inari, Tsunami, and the rest of the village, as Naruto, seeing the state of poverty that this place is in, would feel actually kind of sorry for the village, seeing that there was kids no younger than him starving to death, with them looking so incredibly frail and skinny, with Naruto feeling bad and actually digging into his backpack and handing these people who didn't look at Naruto like a monster some food. After this would happen, Naruto, making his way towards Tsunami's house, would be welcomed in by Tsunami, who would go on to thank them for having accompanied her father. It'd be at this point that Inari, making his presence known, would be a brat to Naruto, and he would actually piss him off. Naruto, turning towards Inari, would tell him to shut his mouth before he burns him to a crisp. But before he could actually finish that sentence, Kakashi would end up stopping Naruto, looking at him and nodding his head no. He would apologize for Naruto's reaction, saying that Naruto doesn't exactly deal well with criticism. As he would look at Naruto, and Naruto staring at Kakashi would end up just being like, whatever. After this would happen, we would get a scene of Naruto into the forest using his flame release to actually land multiple attacks, throwing kicks that were propelled by flames and punches and uppercuts. These would ultimately lead to Naruto being watched by a certain someone, Sasuke. who watching Naruto's movements would be completely stunned at the speed, strength, and finesse. Having watched his battle against Kakashi and now Zabuza, Sasuke would wonder why exactly Naruto was the way that he was, and how he even got this strong. Where did he get these strange abilities from that Naruto doesn't have to weave a single hand sign from? In this moment, Naruto throwing one final kick that would be followed with flame shooting off of his leg, Naruto would stop as wiping the sweat off of his face would turn to the direction of Sasuke, asking him what he's doing here. Sasuke at this point would ask Naruto how he's gotten so strong, to which Naruto would simply say that he trained. Sasuke would tell him that that ability of his to produce fire without weaving a single hand sign isn't normal. That has to be a Kekkei Genkai. He was gifted with that power. How was that fair? But Naruto, looking to Sasuke, would raise an eyebrow saying, "You mean to tell me that you're part of a clan which specializes in a gifted dojutsu and you're gonna come to talk to me about fairness? You've gotta be kidding yourself, dude." He would turn towards the direction of Sasuke, telling him that if he wants strength, then prove it. Not by any shortcuts, but by bone-crushing, grueling, sweat and blood-inducing training. Sasuke, gritting his teeth at this moment, would look at Naruto as he would say that he does train harder than anybody that he knows, as Naruto would say that he doesn't train harder than he does, to which Sasuke would tell him any place, anytime. Not wanting to stand down or look weak in this moment, Naruto would simply smirk as, turning to Sasuke, he would say, "Remember, you asked for it." As suddenly, Sasuke and Naruto would both be teleported to the dimension that Naruto has control over. Or, not really control, but it's like a separate dimension. Similar to how the Rinnegan works in the sense that it can send you to a different place and then back out in a different location. That's what Naruto's doing. Naruto in this moment would tell Sasuke that whoever collapses first loses. In this moment, Naruto would see countless hellspawn creatures made of complete flames would begin to rush at him. And so, Sasuke, not trying to be left behind, would begin fighting with these creatures into the night. Hours would pass, and after finally Sasuke's body just couldn't move anymore, and he was just simply left there standing, trying to move his fist to land another attack, his arm just wasn't able to move. Suddenly, Naruto would appear in front of him, as he would then end up throwing a kunai straight into the face of the monster who was about to kill him, to which Naruto would then teleport himself and Sasuke out. After this would happen, Naruto, turning to Sasuke, would think that he's not as weak as he thought, as he would then end up walking away and Sasuke would be left unconscious on the ground. This would ultimately end up being the final good scene that we get of this arc, considering that now with Zabuza and Haku being taken care of, this can now allow us to move on to the next arc, because Gato and his men won't really be proving trouble for this version of Naruto, who truthfully, if he really wanted to, could massacre multiple of these people by using his iconic spear and chain move to pierce through multiple opponents and ultimately lift his hands like Scorpion does to cause heat or flames to shoot up from underneath them from the different dimension to just absolutely scorch them. So even if Naruto didn't want to do anything else against low-level shinobis who didn't have the the self-awareness or the instincts to know that an attack was coming, Naruto was able to use this insta-kill move on people. Obviously, shinobi with more experience or people who can see that Naruto was clearly about to do something would have their guard up, and the second that they feel flames, they would probably dodge, barely being hit by it. But people like this, kind of hard to dodge this attack. That said, we would end up getting a scene of Team 7 reporting to Hiruzen, with him going on to tell him about Naruto's strength and the team's ability to work together. Naruto and Sasuke, after having that one day where they trained together, would actually have this become a normal thing, as Naruto and Sasuke would begin training together every day, with Sasuke opting to train under Naruto, considering the fact that he could accept now that Naruto was far and beyond way stronger than he was, and if training next to Naruto was going to be giving him the power that he needed to defeat Itachi, well then that's exactly what he was going to have to do, swallow his pride and work alongside Naruto. So that's exactly what would happen, and Naruto and Sasuke would begin training every day until finally the day of the Chunin exams would come around. With Sasuke facing off against this demon horde and Naruto multiple times over the course of this period, he would be more than prepared to face off against Lee and actually have awakened his Sharingan due to his body being pushed to its upper limits when he was in Hell's dimension. So when he and Lee would end up actually fighting, Lee with his weights on would actually stalemate with Sasuke, as the both of them would end up calling it quits right there before the battle became more serious, since either that would happen or Might Guy would come in and stop the battle. That said, they would have the written exam and ultimately be told about the Forest of Death section, which is where ultimately we would get the team rushing through the forest with Naruto being the team captain. He would decide that their first course of action should definitely be to ambush another team. So what Naruto would do is open up a portal as he, Sasuke, and Sakura would end up being shot through it and appearing a bit distance away on top of a tree. Naruto from this point forward would tell Sasuke to use his Sharingan and see if he can sense any chakra signatures, to which Sasuke would be stunned. His eyes would widen as he would say, "Naruto, something's coming." And as he would say that, we would suddenly see Orochimaru arriving in front of them, looking up to the trees and seeing Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura. He would begin to say, my, what do we have here?" As Naruto, seeing this newfound presence before him, would have a smile on his face and a nervous drop of sweat would come down his face. Naruto in this moment would end up teleporting right next to Orochimaru, trying to kill him in an instant, stabbing his blade through his throat. However, Orochimaru in this moment would be able to dodge at the last second and counter Naruto, grabbing Naruto by the arm that he was swinging the blade with and kicking Naruto in the stomach. Naruto would be sent back rolling on the ground as Naruto, looking up to the direction of Orochimaru, would say, "How?" Suddenly Naruto, using his demon minions, would try to grab onto Orochimaru's legs from the ground, but Orochimaru wouldn't be getting caught by this. Orochimaru, having battle instincts that have been honed through multiple wars and more experience than Naruto could ever hope to gain at this point, would dodge that, as Orochimaru would be surprised at Naruto's abilities before then trying to actually land a finishing blow on him. However, Naruto teleporting away would stun Orochimaru, who, seeing Naruto's capabilities, would say, "Interesting, your body, it must be mine." Orochimaru in this moment, looking to Sasuke in the trees, would almost forget about him, understanding that Naruto has an incredibly busted Kekkei Genkai. So, rushing towards Naruto's direction, he would attempt to land the curse mark on him. But Naruto, facing off against Orochimaru, using everything at his disposal, would try to keep his distance from him, teleporting away from Orochimaru and ultimately using his iconic "Get over here" move on Orochimaru, which ultimately would fail, with Orochimaru dodging out of the way of the chain attack and not letting it hit him. Suddenly, Orochimaru would body flicker around the area as, coming toe-to-toe with Naruto, he would send a punch in Naruto's direction, sending him crashing into a tree, as Naruto, feeling pissed at the fact that Orochimaru was able to push him back this much, would feel himself actually start to shake, not from excitement, but from genuine fear. The person standing in front of him was pushing him so hard that Naruto wasn't even sure for the first time in his life if he could win. So, as Naruto would look back up at Orochimaru, Naruto would see his neck extend as he would be about to place the curse mark on him. However, Naruto in this moment would close his eyes and cut Orochimaru's head clean off his body. Orochimaru at this moment would end up having his head hit the ground as it would turn to nothing but snakes, and Naruto, seeing that happen, would expect Orochimaru to come from behind. It'd be at this moment that Naruto would end up being hit by Orochimaru, as he would be sent back once more, with his body hitting the ground and lighting the grass on fire, scorching it, since he had already been using Blaze release. That said, Orochimaru, staring at Orochimaru, would tell him that he's an incredible shinobi. He was able to take all that damage and still get up after that, as he would smile, licking his lips, telling him that his body will be very useful. To which at this moment, Naruto, staring at Orochimaru with more rage than he's ever felt in his life, wanting to rip him apart with every fiber of his being, would have his eyes begin to change from their usual fire color to a deep, dark, reddish, orangish color, which would actually end up pretty much like changing the color of the flames, as the aura of the Nine Tails would finally come over Naruto, and his whiskers would grow sharper, his teeth would grow more animalistic, and claws would begin to come out of Naruto's hands, as Naruto in this moment, grabbing onto both blades, would rush at the direction of Orochimaru with newfound speed, with Orochimaru shocked at the level of speed and precision that Naruto was using. Slash! He would go at the direction of Orochimaru, trying to cut him, similar to what Scorpion does if you're using like, you guys could probably see it if you were to watch my gameplay. I keep doing it over and over. It's when Scorpion takes out both blades and spins them and like cuts the opponent, causing them to like fall to the ground. That would happen. However, in one fell swoop, Orochimaru's body would be cut in half as it would fall to the ground, revealing it to be snakes. Orochimaru in this moment would rush in Naruto, trying to use the 5-pronged finger seal to seal the Nine Tails back in Naruto, but as he would do this and Naruto would realize that this still isn't enough to defeat him, Naruto's rage would boil to the surface even more. The color of Naruto's flames would begin to turn a darker, deeper red, as an entire tail of the Nine Tails power would appear in Naruto, the same power that he would have used to face off against Sasuke in the Valley of the End. He would then rush at the direction of Orochimaru as multiple minions would rush at him, trying to ultimately overwhelm him before Naruto in the air would roar, shooting out a massive amount of fire, which would practically be like the Tsuchikage's laser Genkai that he would use to ultimately almost disintegrate the real Orochimaru. But before that could have actually happened, he would narrowly substitute out of the way within a split second, as part of his hair would have been completely disintegrated. It'd be at this moment that Orochimaru, noting that Naruto was way more powerful than he had bargained for, would end up simply looking at Naruto, smiling and saying, "Till we meet again, Naruto," as he would end up leaving, and Naruto in this moment standing there would simply collapse to the ground, his knees hitting the ground as he would fall unconscious, and Sakura and Sasuke watching that battle would be stunned, with Sasuke thinking he still had that much power left. And as Sakura would pick up Naruto to try to heal him, the screen would fade to black. After this would happen, we would zoom in on Sakura and Sasuke both tending to Naruto's injuries, with Sasuke sitting by the edge of a cave, overlooking any ninjas that could be passing by, trying to see if there's an opportunity to potentially snag a scroll from somebody. But as he would wait, nothing would happen until suddenly 3 sound genin would make their presence known. This would be Dosu and his squad. At this point, I can see Sasuke trying to stand up for the squad, but unfortunately, because he doesn't have the powers of the curse mark, I can see Sasuke quickly beginning to get overwhelmed. Sharingan or not, Sasuke was going to be having a horrible time facing off against his opponents. That is, until Rock Lee would step in the way, helping Sasuke out, who, seeing that Sasuke was currently fighting a 1v3 battle, knowing that that couldn't have been easy, would step in the way. And ultimately, I could see Sasuke and Rock Lee pulling out a W in this fight, leading the Sound Genin to have to retreat, with that one member who had his arms broken by Sasuke originally, obviously not having that happen. With that being the case, Naruto would eventually wake up a few minutes after this, and when Naruto does do this, Sasuke would look at Naruto going, "Finally, you were awake for what seemed like hours, now we can finally make our way to the Chunin Tower." Naruto, looking to Sasuke, would apologize for being so weak back there, as he would then turn to Sakura and ask her if she took care of him. At this point, Naruto would have a slight smile on his face as he would think that maybe this village wasn't that bad. But then those memories of the things that happened to him in his childhood and how they treated him, and Naruto would steel his resolve once more, deciding that no matter how people treat him, it's too late. They've already done what they've done to him. The only people who he's not going to be exacting revenge on or trying to make sure that they kneel before him are going to be the people who have made some changes recently. There go Kakashi, Sakura, and Sasuke, as well as Hiruzen and definitely the ramen guy Teuchi. That said, the team would make their way towards the Chunin exams tower after gaining a scroll, and they would end up passing on to the next event, which would be the 1v1 preliminary battles. Once these battles would begin, Naruto would be told that his opponent was going to be Kiba. And as soon as the match would begin, Naruto instantly would start everything off by shocking everyone who at this point still is completely unaware of Naruto's true fighting style, would start everything off by saying, "Get over here!" shooting the gigantic kunai spear at the direction of Kiba, who, unable to react to the speed of this attack, would be pierced in the chest as Naruto, dragging his arm back, would reel Kiba in, coating his fist in his flame aura, as Naruto would uppercut Kiba to the chin, sending him flying into the air unconscious, all the while Akamaru at Kiba's leg would start barking at Naruto, looking towards Kiba and barking at him again and again. But Naruto, ultimately not caring about Akamaru, would end up just walking off, with the proctor saying that Kiba was unconscious and Naruto had won via elimination. So after this would take place, we would then end up getting the next couple of battles. Sasuke would face his opponent, who he would have fought in the original, and would have a much easier time against him, just due to the fact that A, this time he didn't have the power of the curse mark holding him back, and B, he was actually a bit stronger due to the fact that he's been training with Naruto. That said, Sakura would go up next, and we would get the worst fight in all of Naruto history, or actually one of the worst fights, as we would then finally move on to the 1-month training period, in which during this time, I had a bit of a hard time deciding what I was gonna do, because obviously we know that Naruto in this timeline just isn't the kind of person to go be buddies with somebody and just go ask to train, or go beg somebody to train him like Naruto would have done. And so with that caveat existing, I just don't see a world in which this version of Naruto would end up actually training with Jiraiya sensei. So instead, what actually would end up taking place during this arc is that Naruto would spend the entire month training by himself in the demon dimension, as Naruto would pack a bag full of different things such as ramen, food, and water, and Naruto would practically end up going there with basic necessities. Naruto would spend an entire month in that dimension, knowing that when he came out of this, while it was going to be the most excruciating and grueling training Naruto had ever done in his life, it was going to be worth it. Naruto barely had any time to sleep during the time that he was there, and he was practically sleep deprived all day. Naruto would be lucky if he could manage to get 3 minutes of silence without the demons bothering him or trying to murder him, and Naruto would have literally had to learn how to sleep with his eyes open. During this training, Naruto's speed, strength, and stealth skills, especially his stealth skills, would have improved so unbelievably much in this time that Naruto would find himself as a whole new fighter. Naruto was now starting to get closer and closer to the real abilities of Mortal Kombat Scorpion. Developing all the crazy combos that Scorpion has in his video game, using the swords, the punches, the flame fists, the flame kicks, all of that stuff, Naruto would end up developing. But there was one more thing that Naruto ended up gaining access to, which would make him an incredibly powerful monster, the Kyuubi's chakra. Because keep in mind, Naruto being stuck here for a month would definitely have led him to some near-death moments where Naruto dang near had to bust out his teleportation and go back to the real world. However, last second, Naruto would awaken the power of the Kyuubi, and not having to be restricted by the fact that he's facing off against somebody or hurt his allies or care about what could possibly happen to him, Naruto could use the power of the Kyuubi to its fullest extent, going crazy and letting himself loose. Doing this, Naruto would go animalistic for periods and times whenever he was truly backed into a corner, and his fighting style would become so savage that you couldn't even compare it to Mortal Kombat Scorpion. However, as Naruto would continue fighting and continue tapping into this power, Naruto would start getting the hang of how to control it and not let it take over his mind. So as Naruto would return after the 1-month training would be over, Naruto would be a completely different beast. Because just imagine how much growth a person could have in an entire month of literally locking in. This dude did nothing but fight in a demon-infested dimension for an entire month. And in case it hasn't sunk in, this means that Naruto could barely even have time to do necessities. He barely had time to eat, he barely had time to use the bathroom, and when it came to sleeping, well, he could practically just forget about that, because there was no way that these demons were going to be allowing Naruto the opportunity to have that. So, like I said earlier, Naruto would have little mini moments in which enemies weren't attacking him, and he would be able to just stand there and literally sleep for a split second. This would be enough, with the power of the Nine Tails' help, to help Naruto push through this entire month. However, one day before this, Naruto would come out of the portal completely covered in blood, smoke, and ash, as Naruto would fall onto the ground unconscious. It'd be at this point that Naruto, passing out on the grass, would wake up the very next day, and Naruto, still covered by all the dirt and grime from the month training that he would have endured, thanks to that practical 24 hours of straight sleep, Naruto would feel rested, ready for the battle. However, Naruto, noting that he could hear the chants of people at the arena, would realize that it's definitely time. So, Naruto would arrive to the arena a bit late, as his opponent Neji Hyuga would be standing there waiting for him. Neji, turning to Naruto, would say, "I was afraid you weren't going to show, Naruto, but it looks like destiny has chosen your fate after all. You're going to lose to me here." But Naruto, hearing all that, would simply just crack his neck and knuckles, as Naruto, in an instant, the second that the battle proctor would say begin, Naruto would teleport right behind Neji, going to throw a full-powered flaming fist punch at him. However, thanks to Neji's Byakugan and his 360-degree vision, this would practically be the perfect counter to Naruto. However, Him punching at Neji and Neji trying to deflect it, this would lead Neji's hand to actually be burned even for that split second that he redirected Naruto's blow. In this moment, Naruto would land on the ground before falling through it and teleporting above Neji. Neji would say again as he would watch as Naruto would come in from different angles, looking as though he was Minato himself, going in to attack rapidly at Neji's direction and then escaping once more. Eventually, everybody watching this display seeing random portal flames appear out of nowhere and Naruto jumping out of them, Neji as well as everybody in the crowd would be stunned. This would eventually lead Neji to using the palm rotation protection technique that he has, as he would begin spinning continuously, telling Naruto to just try and catch him off guard this time. Naruto in this moment would smile, as Naruto knows that that jutsu has only one weakness. Naruto in this moment would end up holding one hand out as flames would begin burning Neji from the ground. They would appear as though a furnace had shot them out, and the second that these flames would hit Neji, the battle would be over. Neji's body would be charred, and that was with Naruto holding back. That previous month of training really did create a monster, and Naruto was finally going to show the world what he was truly made out of. After the battle would be over, Naruto would look to the stands and say, "Listen up, Konoha. All my life you've all treated me like a demon, so now I'm prepared to become one. The next time any of you so much as look at me funny, I'm gonna slaughter each and every single one of you painfully and slowly. Remember every time that you told your children not to play with me, every time that you upsold me on something because I was a demon brat, and every time that I was picked last and ridiculed. Remember, Konoha, that you brought this upon yourselves." After Naruto would say this, the entire stadium would go quiet and there wouldn't be a single person actually looking at Naruto. Most people would be looking away and pretending that they didn't just hear that, and sweat drops would be coming off of their faces knowing that the certain villagers who were responsible for treating Naruto in that way felt genuine shame and felt fear, because they knew that if Naruto truly wanted to, he could kill them. Naruto remembered each and every single one of their faces. Heck, Naruto as a kid would dream about them, making fun of him, pushing him away, treating him like an outcast. Naruto hadn't forgotten a single thing that they've done to him, and he had kept receipts. At this point, the only reason Naruto wasn't killing them was because of the fact that it was better to have them live in constant fear that the day might come when Naruto finally decides that he was going to be pulling the trigger on them. Unfortunately though, he wouldn't be doing that quite yet. And so, after this would happen, we would end up getting a battle between Sasuke and Gaara, a bit belated obviously, which eventually would lead us to the battle between Sasuke and Gaara in the forest, the Konoha Crush arc beginning, and Naruto standing by, watching all of this begin. Naruto, seeing that the Sand Village was currently attacking Konoha, would actually have a bit of a smile on his face, as he would think to himself that the only person he's gonna help right now would be Sasuke. So, Naruto teleporting, opening different little portals to move faster. Instead of moving with the body flicker and just flicking here and here and here and here, Naruto, whenever he's moving, instead of doing the normal ninja run, Naruto opts to run a little bit, hop through a portal and appear through another one, and that's how Naruto moves. He kind of teleports from a 10 meter portal to another one, to another one, to another one. It's extremely fast and super efficient, which ultimately leads him to come face to face with Kankuro, who tells Naruto that he's not getting past him. However, Naruto, not taking a single moment to stop, would slash at Kankuro's chest, appearing behind him, shocking Kankuro, who'd be like, "What?" as a little minion would appear in front of Kankuro and using a blade would end up cutting Kankuro's chest. This would lead Naruto to continuing forth with the battle, as he would end up rushing more, eventually finding himself face to face with Gaara and Sasuke. As Gaara was about to land a blow on Sasuke, Naruto would come in, kicking Gaara backwards with a flaming kick, which would actually turn that piece of sand on Gaara's body into literal sand, the flames having done that instantly. He would turn to Sasuke, asking him what the heck he thinks he was doing, as Sasuke would tell him that he's gonna beat that thing and not to get involved. Naruto would turn to Sasuke, telling him that he can't beat that thing alone. He knows that, but with him, he might just do it. And so, Naruto turning to Sasuke would both watch Gaara get back up, as Gaara holding his arm out would shoot a massive amount of sand at their direction, trying to completely drown them and crush them in it. However, Naruto shooting a beam of flames out of his mouth would completely turn that thing into nothing but glass, as Sasuke watching that would look at him saying, "Just how much stronger did you get?" To which Naruto looking at Sasuke would smirk, before then telling him to get ready. It would be in this moment that a portal would open underneath Sasuke, as falling through it, Sasuke knew what Naruto was planning to do. He would charge up a Chidori blast inside of the Hell's Dimension, as in an instant, Naruto would open a separate portal right behind Gaara, with Naruto rushing at him from the front, and Sasuke appearing behind him and stabbing a Chidori straight into Gaara's back, ultimately leading to Gaara falling onto both knees, as sand would begin falling off of his body and we would see the real Gaara there. This would lead an unconscious, near-death state Gaara to lay on the ground, as Naruto would turn to Sasuke telling him that that was a cool new jutsu he came up with, to which Sasuke would say it's a neat trick Kakashi taught him. And after this would take place, we would then end up getting a moment in which Naruto turning to Sasuke would tell him that they should return to the village. After this, he would end up leaving Sasuke alone, teleporting back to the Hidden Leaf Village almost instantaneously by warping through multiple different portals, and ultimately arriving right in the center of the battle between Orochimaru and Hiruzen. Almost instantly, Naruto arriving there, seeing the clash between Hiruzen and Orochimaru, with Hiruzen trying to rip out Orochimaru's soul, he would scream, "Old man, what do you think you're doing?" To which Hiruzen, looking to Naruto, seeing that he would have used his portals to arrive, would tell Naruto to help him quickly. Naruto, rushing into the direction of Orochimaru, who is currently being restrained, would rush towards his direction, slashing him in his back, before then grabbing a kunai and just stabbing him mercilessly. This would leave Orochimaru to be completely and effortlessly have his soul drained out of his body. And this means that there was no way he was going to come back. Curse marks on different people or not, Orochimaru's soul was now permanently in the Shinigami's belly. As Naruto would see this happen, he would turn to Hiruzen as he would smile at Naruto before thanking him, with blood beginning to come out of his mouth as he would hit the ground alongside Orochimaru, and Naruto, seeing that their Hokage was now dead, would close the eyes of Hiruzen, as in a moment Naruto standing over him would think that he deserves a proper burial. As he would take the body of Hiruzen, with the 4 sound shinobi who were there watching this happen, would immediately panic at the shinobi who had just arrived. However, Naruto, seeing that they were trying to run away, would instantly teleport to the first target, Jirobo. In an instant, Naruto would shoot a spear towards him, saying, "Come here!" as he would come rushing towards the direction of Naruto, to which Naruto would chop his head off quickly, rushing at another one, teleporting right behind the 2 brothers who could turn into different parts of themselves, as Naruto, opening his mouth wide, would shoot a gigantic burst of hell flames at their direction, charring them to a crisp, before then arriving behind Tayuya, who would attempt to place Naruto under a genjutsu. However, Naruto would not allow this to happen, throwing his spear, wrapping it around Tayuya's arms, causing her to not be able to grab onto her flute, would yank her towards him, as Naruto, coating his sword in flames, would cut Tayuya upwards from her lady part all the way to her head, splitting her in half as she would fall down to the ground, and Naruto would then teleport to the last remaining member, the one with the spider webs. All too quickly, Naruto would see an arrow come flying at his direction with a string attached to it, as Naruto, rushing forth, would grab the arrow out of the air, spin, and throw it right back at his target, to which the arrow would pierce right through him, and Naruto would have a minion grab onto his legs as it would drag him into the demon dimension. It'd be in this moment that that member would end up being completely devoured by the demons in that dimension, as Naruto, standing over all 4 of them, would now think to himself that now they're even. With Hiruzen's death and Orochimaru's full squadron having been taken out minus Kabuto, there was not going to be any threat of Sasuke leaving the village, thanks to Naruto's act. So after this would take place, either one of 2 things would happen. Jiraiya would agree to become the Hokage of the Hidden Leaf Village, or we would end up having Jiraiya going solo to try to retrieve Tsunade. But in this timeline, I just don't see Tsunade returning to the village. With there being no Orochimaru encounter and Jiraiya not stepping up to try to save her, I don't know if Tsunade would have enough in her to overcome her drunken state and all of the sorrows of her past. So I just don't see her returning to the village. And Jiraiya, well, it just becomes interesting because would he accept the role of Hokage or would he just allow somebody else to do this? Because if not him, then we all know who the next candidate to become Hokage would be, Danzo Shimura. And with that being the case, Danzo would end up becoming the Hokage of the Hidden Leaf Village, with Jiraiya continuing his research and trying to find out who the Akatsuki is, all the while Naruto remains in the village unlike in the original, meaning that the Itachi and Kisame encounter would happen in this timeline much earlier on. When this would happen, I see two things happening. Naruto facing off against Kisame and Itachi in a stalemated battle in which they can't hurt him because of Naruto's portals and him being able to literally escape at a given moment notice, or B, Naruto would start the battle incredibly well until ultimately Itachi using his finger genjutsu on Naruto would catch him completely off guard, and I think that's what happens. So, as Naruto would be training in the forest doing his usual warm-ups, this is when all of a sudden Kisame would shoot an attack at Naruto's direction, to which Naruto would end up stopping with his bare hand. In this moment, Naruto turning to the direction of two robed shinobi would ask them what their business is with him, to which Kisame would tell him that he's coming with them. Naruto in this moment would teleport behind Kisame, slashing at him with his blade as he would say, "I don't think so," but as he drags his blade down, Kisame at the last second would have blocked it with Samehada, to which Naruto, seeing this happen with his blade coated in flames, would be stunned that there was somebody that could keep up with his newfound strength after having trained for that long. Naruto would be stunned that somebody like this even is out there, and as Naruto sees Kisame push him back, Naruto would have a smile on his face. But it would be at this moment that two minions would come out of the ground and go to attack Kisame and Itachi. However, their reaction time would be too much for Naruto, and Itachi's reaction time with the Sharingan would be way too much for him to be caught off guard. So, they would avoid this, as more minions would end up rushing towards their direction, but Kisame using Samehada would rip through them, as Itachi, using nothing but Shuriken and Kunai, would end up taking them out. With that being the case, we would then end up getting a scene in which Naruto, staring at them, would wonder what the heck he should do against these two, saying that one-on-one he might have a chance, but that blue-skinned one is definitely giving him more than a couple of problems. In this moment, Naruto, knowing that he needs to push himself to his furthest and unveil a technique he didn't think he was gonna have to so soon, Naruto would end up looking down as a smirk would appear on his face, and all too quickly, his eyes would shift. Two tails of Kurama's power would appear behind Naruto, as he would then rush in towards their direction with the blade in hand, teleporting out of the way, as all too quickly, Naruto would stop moving, thanks to Itachi's Tsukiyomi. With that being the case, Naruto would drop his weapon completely, as he would be standing there unmoving for a couple of seconds, and Kisame would go to pretty much take him with them. However, before that could happen, Might Guy would arrive, kicking his arm away, as he would tell him to stay away from Naruto, and suddenly the other three Jonin ninja would arrive. We would then end up getting the same outcome that we get in the original story, minus Kakashi being caught off guard by Tsukiyomi, with Itachi and Kisame retreating, opting not to fight against them in this moment. They would end up leaving thanks to Itachi's orders, and after this would be the case, Naruto would end up being hospitalized for about a day, with the effects of Tsukiyomi having definitely affected him harshly, considering the fact that he did get completely tortured by Itachi for an entire month. But because Naruto was spent a majority of his life doing incredibly harsh things, Naruto would be able to overcome it way faster than Kakashi would have, who, mind you, a Jonin ninja, literally one of the biggest hymns in the entire show, was bedridden and completely couldn't do anything until Tsunade could come. So this is heavily wanking Naruto, saying that he could even get up after being hit with a Tsukiyomi, but he could. Anyways, moving on, Naruto, after waking up, would realize that there definitely is still shinobis out there who are going to be giving him a run for his money, and he needs to grow stronger. He doesn't know how, but he needs to do this. After this would take place, Naruto would remain in the village, and so would Sasuke, as we would now not end up getting the Tsunade retrieval arc, nor would we get the Sasuke retrieval arc as well, and instead, we're able to actually focus on an entire 3-year time skip in which Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura would remain in the village. This would mean drastic changes to the story, because Sasuke doesn't go with Orochimaru and instead would spend most of his time training with Naruto, so he would become way more powerful than he would be in the the original, just based off the fact that he's constantly having to fight off against somebody so much stronger than him, and continuously going into the demon realm dimension to face off against them, as well as going on very difficult missions that Danzo would send the group on. Eventually, Sakura would completely be eliminated from the story because she would decide that these missions were just too much for her. She couldn't keep up with seeing Naruto and Sasuke murdering this many people on any given days and both becoming cold-blooded killers. Sasuke hanging around Naruto would end up rubbing off on him, and while he wouldn't be a Sub-Zero-like character, he would end up becoming Naruto's almost right-hand man. That said, the village would have actually ended up developing in a very dark tone, as now the story kind of fits more of like that Shirai Ryu stuff. Danzo is a very warmongering type of character who views war as a good thing. War means more missions means more money, and more money means that the village is prospering. So Naruto and Sasuke would end up becoming S-rank bingo book shinobi who are extremely dangerous to anybody who would possibly running into him, with Naruto having a flee on sight order if anybody was to run into him. That said, Naruto and Sasuke's development would be a bit of a strange one because over the course of this 3-year time skip, Naruto would 100% master taking the power of the Kyuubi by force, by literally making the Kyuubi have to bow down to him. The relationship between Naruto and Kurama would be a strange one, a dictatorship, where Naruto strong arms the Kyuubi anytime that he refuses to give him chakra, ultimately leading Naruto to having a corrupted KCM1 cloak, where Naruto can take the power of the Kyuubi, not just to the 8 or 9 tails, but all of it. But it's kind of a corrupted version because they're not in perfect synchronization. So Naruto with his flame abilities would just have them grow more and more and more, to the point that eventually Naruto's flames would have started to actually change color. Naruto's flames would have gotten darker and darker, eventually turning a different shade, growing blue, before then all of a sudden turning a darker blue, eventually becoming black. Naruto's flames that he could produce from his body would be exactly like the Amaterasu ones that Itachi can make, and this would lead the shinobi world to having a very incredibly busted ninja on their hands. That said, with the time skip being over, after this would take place, we would end up having different arcs actually being the point of contention. Because of the way that the Leaf Village was now starting to operate via having Naruto and Sasuke being its new upcoming strongest shinobi, Naruto would be very loyal to Danzo. Fiercely loyal, in fact, thinking of Danzo as a perfect ruler or leader to the village, considering that he was making them grow more powerful and he was weeding out the weak from the village, only allowing the strong to survive, and the entire academy shinobi system would start to change. Think of the village as kind of similar to the Blood Mist village, which is what it was before Mei ended up taking over and ultimately reforming it as much as possible. That said, with that being the case, other villages would despise the Leaf Village with the way that they've been operating. However, Danzo would have a strong relationship with one village in particular, the Sand Village, and so eventually the time would come when the Sand Kazekage mission would happen and Naruto and Sasuke alone as the two-man duo of the Leaf would be sent off for this mission. Kakashi wouldn't end up going with them because as time passed, they would end up growing further and further from each other. Kakashi's relationship with Naruto would have completely deteriorated and bridges would have been burned. Get it? Bridges would have been burned. But ultimately, Naruto and Sasuke making their way there would end up finding out as much as they could about what the details of the mission were, finding out that Kankuro had been poisoned, and with them not having any medical healer thanks to Sakura never being trained by Tsunade, this means that Kankuro would actually die this time. So, with Naruto and Sasuke rushing to try to retrieve Gaara's body, they would finally find themselves face first with a massive boulder, which Sasuke, creating a Chidori in his hand, would pierce right through it, shattering it, leading to a 2-on-2 battle to ensue, Sasuke and Naruto versus Deidara and Sasori. At this point, we would zoom in on Naruto noticing Gaara's body dangling, as it would be clear that he was already dead. Naruto turning towards the direction of Deidara would say, "So it looks like you guys already killed them," to which Sasuke would say that they sucked them dry of chakra. He would then point out that it's funny. He would ask what exactly that would have felt like, to which Naruto, turning towards the direction of them two, would end up saying that he doesn't know or care, to which he would look at Sasuke who would begin generating a Chidori in one hand. As Naruto smiles, two portals would open. Naruto would appear behind Sasori as swinging down a black flame sword that Naruto would have made completely out of the flames that he can create. Naruto would slice down at Sasori's body as he would completely annihilate it, turning it into flames, combusting as Sasori's Kuroku puppet, or the one that he uses as his base, would completely burn off, leading to the other body that Sasori has to start burning to a crisp. Ultimately, the heart that he has in the middle would be destroyed thanks to this attack, and as this would happen simultaneously, Sasuke, using his Chidori, would have pierced it straight into the heart of Deidara, who at this point, looking at Sasuke, would say, "How did you?" before blood would start coming out of his mouth and he would fall down onto his knees, ultimately face planting on the ground. Seeing this, Naruto would walk towards the body of Gaara as he would take him off of the thing that they had him hanging on and drag him all the way back to the sand village. Once arriving, they would end up telling them that he was already dead when they got there, as the village would end up accepting the fact that this happened and they would ultimately pay them. This would then lead potentially Lady Chiyo to sacrificing herself for the Kazekage, as we would then get Naruto and Sasuke returning back to the Hidden Leaf Village. With that said, we would get a scene of Naruto and Sasuke arriving at Danzo's office, as Naruto, pretty much bowing to Danzo, would end up telling him that the mission was done. And the reason that Naruto has so much respect to Danzo is because of just how well Danzo treats him. He put an order out to make sure that any villager that treats Naruto badly or even looks at him funny literally gets executed publicly by Naruto himself. He pays Naruto the most of any shinobi out there, and he's improved Naruto's quality of life exponentially. Naruto is practically the second in command in this village, and Naruto's loving every second of it. Sasuke would do so as well, seeing as his buddy Naruto was doing this, and after this would take place, Danzo would go on to tell Naruto and Sasuke of the fact that they have only one more mission after that. He would go on to explain to them that one of their Jonin had actually been killed, the son of the third Hokage, Asuma. Naruto, hearing this, would say, "So, the bastard got himself killed. Who did it exactly?" At this point, Danzo would go on to reveal that the person who did it was actually two Akatsuki members. Naruto would have a chuckle underneath his mask, as he would now be having the iconic scorpion outfit. In this moment, he would look at Sasuke, his eyes glowing a fiery red, as he would ask him if he's willing to get a couple more kills. To which Sasuke would nod, and the both of them would be informed of the details of this actual mission. After this would take place, we would end up getting a scene in which Naruto, taking a robe, would end up making his way towards the direction of the village gate, as Shikamaru, arriving behind the both of them, would end up basically begging them to go with them, saying that that's his master and he couldn't rest until justice was had. Naruto, in this moment, looking at his direction, would end up telling him that that's too bad, because he was not going to be allowing him to go with them. And so Shikamaru would be left in the dust, with Naruto saying that he had some nerve trying to tag along with them, saying that they work better alone. Sasuke at this moment would look at Naruto laughing, saying, "That was kind of cold, don't you think?" To which Naruto would say, "So what? I was supposed to act nice with him?" As Sasuke and Naruto would let out a cackle, and the two of them would then be seen arriving directly in front of the two Akatsuki members responsible for the death of Asuma. Naruto would end up pretty much saying things very quickly, saying, "Look, we're here to kill you guys, so you guys could either die the hard way or the easy way." At this point, Naruto would look at the direction of Kakuzu, who would narrow his eyes, saying the hard way. Naruto at this point would smile, as two portals would open underneath each of them, and Naruto would say that that was a trick question. At this point, Naruto would end up unveiling his most horrific method of death, sending them to a different dimension, which they are trying to pretty much fight for their life, but eventually they run out of food, they run out of water, and they're too tired to continue fighting against the endless amount of demonic monsters that are fighting them. Naruto was an instant kill move against practically anybody. If he can get you in his dimension, you're gonna die just due to the fact that you have no food. So the two immortals, quote unquote, would end up falling in there and doing their absolute best, facing off against these new foes that were in front of them. But eventually they would be overwhelmed, and the two bodies would end up being burnt by the lava. With that being the case, Naruto and Sasuke would return back to the Leaf Village, with Sasuke Sasuke telling him that that was a bit annoying. He had hoped to get in some practice before his big fight, to which Naruto would say, "It's that soon, huh?" And Sasuke would go on to say that it is. Naruto in this moment would tell Sasuke that if he needs anything, he'll step in. But Sasuke would tell Naruto not to do so even if he was gonna die, saying that this was his fight and nobody else's. Naruto looking to Sasuke would end up scoffing, saying, "Whatever." As after this, we would get the two of them returning to the village, gathering a few things and telling Danzo that they were going to be taking care of that problem. Danzo at this point would have a smile on his face, knowing that Itachi was finally going to be taken care of, and it was going to be by his brother no less. He would smile, thinking to himself that everything worked out perfectly, and that now he had the two of the strongest characters in the entire world serving him as his pawns. Danzo at this moment would end up telling the both of them to do whatever they need to do, as they would end up leaving the village, and we would end up seeing a scene in which Naruto and Sasuke would arrive at the old Uchiha compound. With that being the case, Naruto and Sasuke would approach, as they would be greeted by a man with blue skin. A creepy smile would end up coming over Naruto's face as his eyes would glow with a fiery red aura. Naruto, seeing Kisame, would end up unveiling his cloak, saying, "Long time no see," as Kisame would say, "You're that bratty child we fought so many years ago." He would take out his sword, asking, "So, you gotten any stronger since then?" As Naruto, turning to Sasuke, would simply end up telling him to get a move on. Sasuke would end up entering, and Naruto, now having some form of entertainment, would begin a battle against Kisame. However, much to what I would usually do of making the battle quick and painful for Kisame, Naruto would actually start the battle by stalemating Kisame, going blow for blow with the Shark Man, as Samehada and Naruto's two blades would clash. It'd be at this moment that Naruto would begin using all the things that he has at his disposal, using different attacks, stunning Kisame, who, thinking that this is all that Naruto has at his disposal, would tell him that he's strong, but not strong enough. Suddenly, he would begin using more tactics to actually try to catch him off guard, as he would begin using different diversions, water clones, water jutsus, and also using substitutions and chakra clones with a lot of chakra in them to fool Naruto to believing him to be the real one. Eventually, he would end up thinking that he has the jump on Naruto, as a smile would creep on Kisame's face, and he would then ultimately slash at the direction of Naruto. Naruto's body in this moment would be ripped in half, as he would fall to the ground and real blood would appear. It'd be in this moment that Naruto would go on to appear behind Kisame, as he would tell him if he truly believed that was real. Kisame would have a smile on his face as he would say, "I'm no fool, but I knew all along that you were hiding this power." He would then end up jumping away, creating some distance between the both of them, as he would end up fusing with Samehada, telling Naruto that he's his perfect counter. Weaving hand signs for a jutsu that he believed to completely destroy Naruto, he would end up using his final attack, as a gigantic amount of water would fill the area, and Naruto would be locked inside of a water prison so massive as sharks would begin rushing at Naruto's direction. They would bite on his arm, leg, and even on his head. But Naruto, seeing this happen, would burst his body in black flames, as this would end up covering the entire area, and Naruto would start to burn literal water away. The water had no impact on his flames, and as Kisame got closer, the heat would grow more intense. However, as Kisame decided to jump backwards trying to avoid this, Naruto would end up shooting his kunai at him, wrapping it around him, saying, "Come here!" and dragging Kisame at his direction. Naruto would end up grabbing a dagger and stabbing it right through Kisame's neck from behind him. This would go right out of his throat as he would crush it, and Naruto in this moment would have a smile on his face, saying that he's dead. All too suddenly, a portal would open, leaving Kisame to rot inside of Hell's dimension, as he would walk away, making his way towards Sasuke, who had just wrapped up his battle against Itachi, with the ending this time having changed drastically, because this version of Sasuke had awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan. So we would end up getting a clash of Susanos between brothers, with Itachi ultimately losing due to his chakra drain and a sickness. With that being the case, Sasuke would walk over towards Itachi, asking him why in the hell he killed the entire clan, and Itachi would smile at Sasuke, telling him that he's proud of him. After this, he would croak, and Sasuke, staring at the body of Itachi, would say, "Don't you dare die on me!" But all too suddenly, a masked man would appear, clapping, saying that his death was almost poetic. At this point, he would go on to tell Sasuke if he wants to know the truth about his brother, and Sasuke, staring at this masked man, would ask what he's talking about. Obito at this point would then go on to say that he didn't kill the clan because he wanted to, he was forced to, by the person sitting in the Hokage's office. Sasuke, hearing that, looking towards the direction of Obito, would say, "You're lying," as all too quickly, a ball of black flames would be shot at the direction of Obito, who, being able to phase right through it, wouldn't be impacted. Naruto, seeing this, would have a confused expression on his face, never having faced off against somebody who could literally phase through his attacks. So, in a moment, Naruto would speed blitz at Obito, trying to slash at him as his chains would follow him behind him, and as Obito would go to try to attack at Naruto, he would be forced to phase because Naruto's attack was about to hit him. So they would perfectly stalemate in that moment, and Naruto would wonder if he has some sort of dimensional abilities as well. Obito would smile as Naruto, teleporting behind him to try to catch him off guard, would once again attempt to cut his head off. However, the attack wouldn't land, and Naruto would realize that the reason it's not landing was because he just wasn't able to move fast enough. Naruto in this moment would end up saying, "You damn fox, give me your power," as in an instant, all of Naruto's stats would go up exponentially, with black flames bursting off of him and him aiming his blade at the direction of Obito. He would tell him that he's dead. But before Naruto could even go to attack him, Sasuke would say, "Naruto, wait," as Naruto would stop, and he would tell Obito to tell him the rest. Obito at this point would go on to smile underneath his mask and reveal the truth to not only Naruto, but Sasuke as well. After he'd be done, Sasuke would say, "Then I guess it's true." He would then turn to Naruto, telling him, "Naruto, let's take him out." As after this would happen, Obito, smiling under his mask, would realize that he has one more battle to undergo before he could finally begin his plans. However, unfortunately for Obito, this would prove to be the last battle he ever took part in. Naruto's speed, as well as Sasuke being there, would completely overwhelm Obito, having to face off against a gigantic Susanoo, as well as Sasuke's Amaterasu flames would be shooting those at Obito whenever Naruto was getting close. Naruto would be able to tank those easily, not even being affected by flames at this point, as Naruto rushing in, covering his entire body in the Amaterasu flames as well as the Nine Tails amps, would be just as strong as KCM2 Naruto, who would easily, in my opinion, be able to defeat Obito. Or actually, let's be real, not easily, but he definitely would be able to defeat Orange Mask Obito. Maybe it would be a different story if he had the Rinnegan at this point in the story, but he still just doesn't. And mind you, all the while this would be happening, we would potentially end up having the Pain attack happening in the village, as Naruto would be facing off against Pain. So as Naruto's blade would go to slash at Obito's direction, Obito would phase through it. And the moment that he would solidify himself, Sasuke would come shooting out of a portal that Naruto would have created, piercing through Obito's mask, shattering it, leaving Obito to have actually been hit by the attack. He would be sent crashing at the ground as he would phase through Naruto's last fire beam attack that would be sent flying out of his mouth, with Naruto smiling, beginning to spin his kunai on his chain over and over and over, throwing it at Obito, fainting. "Come here!" using his attack, as Obito would phase right through it, being able to evade the attack entirely, as suddenly Sasuke, the moment he would dematerialize himself, would shoot a massive Amaterasu blast at him, which would practically leave him blind. After this would take place, Obito's body would be burnt and charred, as he would then come back perfectly fine. His Izanagi had been used. Naruto, realizing that he had that jutsu, would smile underneath his mask, as he would then blitz right before Obito with newfound speeds that he had never expected, and all too suddenly, random minions would end up grabbing a hold of Obito. In an instant, Obito would find himself in a new dimension, with flames so hot that you had to practically cover your eyes because it just had such a horrible effect on you. Obito, staring around, would say, "So, you also have a pocket dimension, blitzing towards the direction of Naruto as fast as possible, trying to trap him in the Kamui dimension. However, none of his attacks were worthy enough of damaging Naruto, and though a couple might have landed, they wouldn't do as much damage as Obito had hoped. Naruto's skin was as strong as iron itself, and it could tank the strongest hard-hitting attacks possible. Naruto had the durability of the third Raikage, and with that being the case, Obito's attack would be completely nullified by his durability, to which Naruto, staring at the direction of Obito, who was point blank in his direction, would end up pretty much shooting a beam of flames at Obito's body. This would ultimately scorch him, and Naruto wouldn't stop shooting the beam for an entire 5 minutes, with Naruto knowing that Obito had definitely teleported away. But he couldn't remain in that dimension too long, because Naruto understood what it was like to stay in one place without any food or water. But Naruto had trained himself to go without that stuff for entire months on end. So Naruto would literally sit there in his dimension, all the while Sasuke would be in the real world for an entire hour. And once Naruto was sure Obito had been hit by the attack, he would stop, positive that Obito was now dead. He would teleport beside Sasuke as he would tell him that the man's dead, to which Sasuke would go on to tell Naruto that they're gonna slaughter Danzo. Naruto, turning to Sasuke, would ask him if he's serious about that, saying that if they were to kill him, the village would be in need of a new Hokage. And Sasuke would say that Danzo dies tonight. His entire clan was murdered thanks to that monster. Naruto, hearing this, looking at Sasuke, would say that he did like the guy, but oh well. I guess he's on his hit list now. They would end up returning back to the village, and the second that they would arrive, they would see a destroyed village, with Danzo even having already died. He, being practically the only line of defense for the village in that moment, would have been the one to try to go out there and defeat Pain, maybe, or he might have tried hiding. You really don't know. Whether he hid, he would ultimately be killed by Naruto or Sasuke, or he would have died trying to face off against Pain, which would not have gone well. Also, one more point, Jiraiya would definitely be dead, having trying to fight the leader of the Akatsuki. That would have been nothing but his fate. And finally, we would get a moment in which Naruto, finding of the death of Danzo thanks to the hands of Pain, this would lead Sasuke to be like, alright, well now I'm gonna kill Pain. And we would then get a final battle between Naruto Sasuke versus Pain. All of the paths versus Naruto's abilities. Naruto, knowing that this was a fight that Sasuke wanted, would actually allow Sasuke to face off against Pain using his eternal Mangekyo Sharingan that he would have gotten thanks to Itachi. After practically going blind in their previous fight, Sasuke would end up using his newfound abilities to match up against Pain as perfectly as you could imagine, ultimately leading to all of the paths being defeated with Naruto's help, leading to a scene in which Naruto and Sasuke would arrive in front of Nagato and just straight up kill him. They weren't going to be giving him a chance to talk. Konan, trying to save, her friend Nagato, would have died as well. And ultimately, Naruto and Sasuke would end up just getting stronger and stronger, with Naruto ultimately taking over the village and leading it down the path of the Shirai Ryu. That said though, ladies and gentlemen, that is where I'm going to be ending What If Naruto Was Scorpion's Reincarnation. Let me know what you guys thought about this video. I actually had a lot of fun recording it, considering I got to use all the cool moves he has, all the flame attacks, and make Naruto just a busted teleport user, which, speaking of, has to be one of Scorpion's most busted abilities. You mean to tell me that the dude in the middle of the fight could just teleport behind you and land a random attack? Bro, that's insane. I don't even know how any of the Mortal Kombat characters contend with that. But anyways, point being, this is the end of the story, for now at least. Pretty soon, more likely than not, I'm gonna be dropping What If Naruto Was Sub-Zero's Reincarnation, so be on the lookout for that either Saturday or Sunday. But with that being the case, ladies and gentlemen, it has been your boy Xehther, and I am out. Peace.